Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to WatchBox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. It's your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any WatchBox platform. Reach out to me directly, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. Launched at Basel World 2018, stainless steel 39.7 millimeters. This is the Omega Speedmaster CK2998. Much like its counterpart launched in 2016, this watch has the traditional pre-professional case profile, smaller overall, with a CK2998 tribute dial. But what really sets this watch apart from both the original 2998 and the 2016 model is that this is a driver's-oriented chronograph. Let's count the ways it fits. 39.7 millimeters, the watch measures 14.6 millimeters thick by 47.1 millimeters lug-to-lug with a 19 millimeter spacing between the lugs. The standard Moonwatch is 42 millimeters, and it's considerably broader across the wrist, especially on a bracelet. So on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, you can see it's not necessarily the watch for the tightest of dress sleeves, though it works better with formal attire than many Speedmasters. Across the wrist, it's fairly short with those stubby lugs, so I can recommend it for a wrist as small as 13.5, maybe even 13 centimeters in circumference. There's your over-the-top shot. There's your down-the-barrel shot one more time. Let's take a look at the strap. This is one of the areas of the design where tailoring of details really reflects the mission of the watch, as this is a sort of perforation that's common to upholstery, steering wheels, even fine driving gloves. Remember, this is the driver's model. It features a contrasting stitch, black calfskin. There is some bolstering to give it volume, and it has a folded edge. On the bottom, another contrasting stitch, this delightfully in red, and you can see this is a brand new Omega factory strap, calfskin on both sides, with a simple stainless steel pin buckle for quick on-the-fly adjustments. It's Omega branded and all of high polish. The timepiece features that CK2998 case. Now, if we want to be clear, the first time we saw this case in the modern era, as opposed to the historic CK2998, was in 2012 with the first Omega in Space model. So it's that basic profile and proportion, as well as dimension, with satin sides, minimal beveling, and squared off shoulders. You can see that the watch also features pump-style pushers with no shear guards, as this isn't the professional style case that came about in 1964. The underside of the bezel all is of high polish, and then distinct from the scale used on the 2016 watch, this is a pulsation scale. So instead of a tachymeter, we have a scale for reading pulsations. You can see it's graduated for 30, or temps pulsation. It is designed so that when you start it, you count to 30 pulses while taking the pulse of a patient, and the second the count hits 30, you stop the chronograph. And you can see right here, it's going to be about 220 beats per minute. That person is distressed. So this is often described as the doctor's scale. It's often used too by trackside medical workers at races. For example, in Formula One, traditionally a doctor's scale would be used to gauge the pulse. The timepiece also includes a sort of quasi-Paul Newman aesthetic to it. As you can see, the minutes and seconds track is dropped below the center dial, and it is white calibrated on a black base. There are polished applique indices in contrast to the original CK2998, which was one of the original Speedmaster variants. That watch would not have featured applique indices. This is an upscale look for an upscale watch, and to that end, the watch also includes a sapphire cap instead of the Hesselite, basically plexiglass, seen on a standard Moonwatch, but it is box section and cambered to look like a thermoplastic. The pulsation scale is cold enamel filled and made of ceramic for scratch resistance. You can see alpha style hands are used both on the hours and minutes as well as for the sub-registers. That's another nod to the CK2998 of the early 60s. There's an applique Omega logo, and then you can see that the watch includes the traditional hippocampus or seahorse on the back, reminding you that the first Speedmaster of 1957, the CK2915, was part of the Seamaster line, water-resistant watches generally, not just dive watches, so it had the hippocampus. That's why that's still there. Individual numbering, always nice to have, and then underneath the Moonwatch caliber 1861, manual wind, 48-hour power reserve, 21,600 vibrations per hour, pivots on 18 joules, water resistant to 50 meters, and it is a cam lateral clutch system that is tank tough. Fun fact, this movement is the one that is still used by NASA astronauts, including for spacewalks. So even though this is technically not a Moonwatch or a professional, this is a timepiece that is very much part of the legacy of the space program, as the same heart beats inside. And of course, the first Omega in space was not NASA issued. It was one of of these pre-moon Speedmasters. The timepiece, of course, is wonderfully wearable, handsome, limited edition, and core to Omega. If you don't want the Speedmaster that everyone else has, this one is defiantly different. Reach out to tmosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details of this Panda dialed little giant. And we're back with the CK2998 by night.